morning students, welcome back to our system class. Today here I am going to explain the deadlock detection. What is a deadlock detection and when we'll use the deadlock detection algorithm and what is the use of the deadlock detection algorithms. Okay, actually what is a deadlock and when it will come? When a deadlock avoidance and a deadlock prevention, if it is not worked properly, if the system is not employed this deadlock avoidance and deadlock prevention properly, then there is a situation to deadlock, means there is a situation of a deadlock to occur. Means when the deadlock avoidance and the deadlock prevention is not done properly, then what happened? There is a situation where the deadlock may occur. Okay, so when deadlock occurs, then what system will do is, it will do two things. One is detection of the algorithm, means detection of the deadlock, means which process involved in the deadlock and what resources are involved in the deadlock. So what it will do, first it will find out first it will do the deadlock detection. When deadlock occurs, first what it will do, it will detect the deadlock. The second one is, it will recover the system from the deadlock. Understood? So what system will do when the deadlock occurs? When deadlock will occur, when the deadlock avoidance and the deadlock prevention not done properly, or the system is not able to employ the deadlock avoidance and the deadlock prevention, then what happened? There is a situations deadlock may occur. So when deadlock occurs, what system will do is, it will do two things. First one is, it will detect the deadlock. The second one is, it will recover your system from a deadlock. Okay, so when deadlock occurs, first thing what system will do is, it will detect the deadlock. So that is our topic. Deadlock detection means deadlock happens. Now how to detect? What methods you have? Understood? That today you are going to learn. Understood? So deadlock detection means, actually what it is a process of, deadlock detection is a process of finding how many processes are involved in the deadlock and how many resources are involved in the deadlock. Understood what is a deadlock? Deadlock is a process of finding how many processes are involved in the deadlock and how many resources are involved in the deadlock. Understood? So here, when deadlock occurs, first what we'll do, we need to detect the deadlock. So here we have two cases where you can implement the deadlock detection algorithms. Okay, so first one is, if resource type has a single instance. If the resource type has single instance, example, in your system you have a printer, Xerox machine, and the next hard disk and all, whatever resource it may be, they have only one device you have. So that is called as a resource type has single instance. The second one is, if resource type have multiple instances, example, in your office you have two printers, two Xerox machines, and extra device, more number of devices if you have. So if you have a single instance, we'll use one method. If you have a multiple instances, we'll use one method. Understood? So there are two cases. There are two cases where you can define deadlock detection algorithm. Means if the resource type have single instance, we'll use one method. If the resource type have a multiple instances, we'll use one method. Okay, you write down this too. Okay, now we'll discuss about the first one. Here, if the resource type have only the single instance, means only one device you have. So if the resource type have a single instance and there is a deadlock, then we can define the deadlock detection algorithm that uses a variation of the resource allocation, that uses the variation of resource allocation graph, that uses the graph. Okay, so if there is a single instance of resource type, then you can define the deadlock detection algorithm, which is based on the graph. Okay, so here if the resource have a single instance, if the resource type have a single instance, then we'll use the wait for graph. Okay, so if the resource type have a single instance, then what we'll use? We'll define the detection algorithm, deadlock detection algorithm, that uses the variation of this graph. Okay, so if the resource type have a single instance and there is a deadlock, then what we'll use? We'll use a wait for graph. Okay, so if the resource type have a single instance, then what we'll use? We'll use wait for graph to detect the deadlock. Actually, wait for graph, how it is constructed? How it is constructed is, example, here process P1 is there, process P2 is there. Okay, and next example, this is R1, this is R2. These two are resources and these two are process. Okay, process P1 is requesting for R1. R1 is held by the P2. Example. Then, example here P2 is requesting for R2. Example. Then, again this is a simple graph. So, how to construct a weight graph from this graph? So, if there is an edge from P1 to P2, when the edge is added, when edge is given between P1 to P1 is requesting for R1 and R1 is held, when R1 is already with the P2. Then directly you can construct a P1 directly to P2. Like this, you can form a weight graph. So in the weight graph, if there is a cycle, then there is a deadlock. Understood? So from the graph, first we will construct the weight graph. Wait for graph. In the wait for graph, if there is a cycle, then there is a deadlock. Understood? And how to construct a wait for graph with example, I will explain now. Understood? So, if the resource type have a single instance and there is a deadlock, then what we'll use to detect the deadlock? We'll use wait for graph to detect the deadlock. So, wait for graph is constructed from your resource allocation graph, and there resources are removed and there's a direct connection between one process to another process. Understood? Now we'll construct one wait for graph and I'll explain there is a deadlock or not. Okay. So here we have a resource allocation graph. From this resource allocation graph, you can construct a wait for graph. So how to construct, already I have explained. If there is an edge from Pi to Pj, then what happened? P1 is requested, Pi is requesting for the resource and that resource is held by the Pj. So there in that case directly you can draw the edge from Pi to Pj. So in that way you can construct the wait for graph. Okay, so here you can see in this graph, process, how many processes are there? P1, P2. These circles are called as a process. Understood? These circles are called as a process and this rectangle is called as a resources. Okay, so here you can see P1, the first process. P1 is already, it's holding R2 and it is requesting for a R1, but this R1 is already with the P2. So P1 is requesting for R1, that R1 is with the P2. So directly you can give like this, P1 to P2. Understood? Means you will you can remove all the resources and the connection between a process to the resources. Okay, if one process is holding some resource and waiting for another process resources, means another resource which is held by the another process. In that case, direct edge you can get. Okay, so in this case, you can see P2 is requesting for R3. Okay, P2 is requesting for R3 and this R3 is with the P3. So direct edge you can give. Understood? Now, here P2 is requesting for R5 and R5 with the P4. Direct edge you can give. Understood? Next, P5. P5 is not at all related. P3. Next, P3 is requesting for R5 and R5 is with the P4. So, direct you can give. And P4 is requesting for R2 and R2 with the P1. So, direct edge you can give. Understood? And P5 is not requesting for, P2 is requesting for R2 and R2 with the P5. Direct edge you can give. Understood? So, if P1 is holding R2 and P1 is requesting for R2 and R2 with the P2. So, you can remove this resource and direct edge you can give from P1 to P2. Understood? So, how can you construct the weight graph? Just what you have to do is whatever resource allocation graph is there, from that graph you remove all the resources and you cut all the edges which are connected to the resources, and direct edge you give from one process to another process. Okay, so when we'll give the edge, if one process is requesting for resource, that resource is held by another process, then you need to give the connection, you need to form an edge between this first process to the second process. In that way, you can form the weight for graph. In this example, you can observe this is a resource allocation graph. From this resource allocation graph, I have constructed the weight for graph. So, using a weight for graph, how can you say that whether there is a deadlock or not? How will you say whether there is a deadlock or not? If there is a cycle. This is a cycle. See. P1 is waiting for P2, P2 is waiting for P3, P3 is waiting for P4, P4 is waiting for P1. So, in this case, the process will never complete its execution. So, that may lead to deadlock. So, if this type of cycle is there in the weight for graph, then you can say that there is a deadlock. This is one method. When the resources having a single instances, the resource type have a single instances, then easily you can find out using a weight for graph. How can you construct the weight for graph? By removing all the resource type from the resource allocation graph, you can form the weight for graph. Using a weight for graph, how can you say that? How can you decide? How can you find whether there is deadlock or not? If there is a cycle in the weight for graph, then you can say that there is a deadlock. This is the first method. Understood? So, if the resource type is having a single instance, then you can use the weight for graph. But if the resource type is having a multiple instances, then the weight for graph is not suitable. So, in that case, we'll use the resource, this deadlock detection algorithm, which is similar to your Bankus algorithm, where you have a different data structures, where the step-by-step process we have, which is similar to Bankus algorithm, but it is different. Bankus algorithm is different. The data structure, whatever you use in the Bankus algorithm, same data structure will use in a deadlock detection also, but the step, whatever conditions you implemented, whatever steps you wrote in the deadlock detection algorithm, that will be different. Understood? Now, we'll discuss about the deadlock detection. Second case, deadlock detection if resource type is having multiple instances. Understood? If there is a deadlock, then you can detect the deadlock, and in two cases, we'll use the two methods. If the resource type is having a single instance, then we'll use a weight for graph. Okay, how it is constructed already I have explained. If the resource type is having a multiple instances, then we'll go to the deadlock detection algorithm, which is similar to the Bankus algorithm. Okay, now this deadlock detection algorithm, I'll give the data structures. You note down the data structures. We'll take that data structure your algorithm. Okay. Here you can see the data structure of deadlock detection algorithm if the resource type is having a multiple instances. Here we have a three data structure. First one is available, means how many resources are available. It is a vector length of m. Already I have explained the Bankus algorithm. So vector length of m means the total available resources. Okay, m means resources, and a vector length of n means the number of process. Okay, m means it is nothing but it represents the number of resources, and available of m means the number of resources are available. Now come to the second one, allocation, and n cross m matrix. Currently, how many resources are allocated to process? Okay, currently how many resources are allocated to each and every process. Now come to the request and n cross m matrix. If request of ij equals to k means the process I want number of resources of j. Example, here you have a pen equals to 5. A process, example P1. P1 is requesting 5 instances of resource type j, resource type pen. One process want 5 pens. Okay, the resource type is a pen. How many instances it want? 5 instances. Understood? You note down this. Based on this, we'll construct the algorithm. Okay, 3 data structure we have, and whereas in case of Bankas algorithm we used one more, that is the need. Okay, here we are not using the need. Here you can see the algorithm. We are taking 2 variables, work and finish. 2 variables, work equals to available. Means work equals to what? The number of resources available. And finish I equals to false. Basically, the process has not completed its execution, so it is nothing but the false. Otherwise, finish equals to true. Means if the process completed its execution, then finish equals to true. If the process not completed its execution, then finish equals to false. If allocation to process when finish of I equals to false, means you need to allocate the resource to the process when the process not completed its execution. So what is the first one? Work equals what is the first step? Available resources. And when the resources should be allocated to the process when the process not completed its execution. How will you check whether the process not completed execution? Finish of I equals to false. Means that process is not completed its execution. Now come to the second step. Find an index I such that, means you need to find a process such that finish of I equals to false, means that process not completed its execution. Next, request less than the work. So whatever resources the process is requesting, that resources should be less than the available resources. Okay, what is the first step? First you need to check whether the process completed its execution or not. If that condition is true, come to the second one. In the second one, you need to find the process such that that process not completed execution, and whatever resources that process is requesting, that is less than the available resource. Okay, the less than the available resources, then we'll go to the step 3. In the step 3, what I have given once you check. Here, what is the third step? Work equals to work plus allocation. So, in order to give the new resources, what you have to do? Already whatever resource allocated to that process, that should be collected first. So, that is why work equals to work plus allocation. Next, finish of I equals to true. Okay, means that process will complete its execution. If the second condition is true, then we'll come to the third one. In the third one, what we are doing? We are collecting the old resources and we are giving the new resources, whatever it is requesting. So when new resources are given to that process, then what happened? That process will complete its execution. So that is why finish of I equals to true. Next, go to the step 2. In the step 2, what you have to do? Again, you need to find a process such that it's not complete execution, and whatever resources the process is requesting, that should be that if that is less than the available. Then again work equals to work plus allocation. Next, finish of I equals to true. So we will complete this process till all the process will complete its execution. If any process is not completed its execution, then what happened? There is a deadlock. Understood? In the second case, you can see the second thing you can see here. If the second find an index I such that finish of I equals to false, means the process not complete execution, request less than work, then we'll give the resource to the process. If no such I, go to the step 4. Means if that condition is false, then we'll go to the step 4. In the step 4, what I have given? In the step 4, you can see if finish of I equals to false, for some process, means it is a start from a 0, it is a ending between that range. Then what happened? Then the system is in a deadlock. Understand? The process is there. That process not complete execution. But whatever resource it is requesting, that resources are greater than the available resources. Then what happened? In that case, the process will never complete its execution. That may lead to a deadlock. So here only I have given that finish of I equals to false, means that process will not complete execution. When that process it lies between 0 to n, means the process starting from a 0. The next one is a n minus, here you can take n minus 1. Then what happened? Then the system is in a deadlock. Understood? Once you see this. Okay, understood? So this is a second method. It is similar to your Banker's algorithm, but here one more data structure is not there. That is a need. First you have to do, what you have to do is, first you have to check work equals to work and finish. Work equals to the available resources and finish equals to false or true. Okay, here finish equals to what I have given. Finish equals to false means that process is not completed. That the process not completed its execution. The finish of I equals to true means that process is already completed its execution. So here what process we have to take? The process which are not completed its execution. So when the process is not completed its execution, then finish of I equals to false. So you need to find that process only. The second step what we are doing, if the process not completed execution and whatever resources it is requesting that are less than the available, then what happened? We are going to the third step. The third step what we have, work equals to work plus allocation, means before giving a new resources we are collecting the old resources. Okay, so like this will complete all the process. Execution will complete. If any process is not completed, then what happened? Finish of I means that process equals to false. If any process is not completed execution, then what happened? That system is in a deadlock. Understood? You note down this. So here you can see, I have given one example and this example from your government textbook only. Okay, so here how many processes we have? 5 processes, P0, P1, P2, P3, P4. And allocation, it is how many resources right now allocated and how many resources they are requesting and how many resources are available. Okay, so here P0 is the first process. Okay, first in the algorithm, what is the first step? Work equals to available. Work equals to available. How many resources are available? 0, 0, 0. The resource type A, resource type B, resource type C. Now, work equals to available. And finish of I. Finish of I equals to false. Okay. Means here they are requesting. Means they have not completed its execution. So, 0 to n minus 1. Here the process not completed its execution. Now, we'll check first process, P of 0. What is the first condition? So, this is what we have to check when the process is requesting. When the process is requesting, what you have to do? What you have to do is, the first step, finish of I equals to false. The process not completed its execution. Then, finish of I equals to false. Then, request. How many it is requesting? 0, 0, 0. Less than or equals to 0, 0, 0. If the condition is true. If the condition is true, then what happened? Work equals to work plus allocation. Understood? Work plus allocation. Work equals to 0, 0, 0 plus allocation. How many resources are allocated to this process? 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Now work equals to 0, 1, 0. So now you need to find the second process, step 2. Okay, so here you can draw one Gantt chart here. How many processes we have? 5 processes. Okay, so P0 is completed its execution. True. The remaining is false, false, false. This 4 process not completed its execution. Now we will see the second process, P1. P1 is not completed its execution. Right, condition is true. If the condition is true, then what you have to do? What is the next one? If the process not completed execution and whatever resources it is requesting, 2, 0, 2. It is less than or equals to 0, 1, 0. 0, 1, 0. Condition is false. Then first process completed execution, second one not completed. Same state you will get. Because here the request is greater than the available. So we cannot get the resource to that process. Now the step 3, what we are doing is, we are checking the next process, P2. P2 and P2 is not completed execution, condition is true. If the condition is true, then we'll see the request. Request is 0, 0, 1. It is less than or equals to, it is less than 0, 1, 0. The condition is true. If the condition is true, then available equals to, what happened? Work equals to work plus allocation. 0, 1, 0 plus how many resources are already allocated? 3, 0, 3. Then 0, 3, 1, 3. Understood? Now you can see the chart. True, false, true. Okay, because this third one is completed execution. Next, false, false. Now use this step 3. Fourth one you see. Fourth one here. How many it is requesting? 1, 0, 0, which is less than. First you need to check condition. Finish of I equals to true or false. It is a false. So requesting 1, 0, 0. Okay. How many it is requesting? 1, 0, 0 it is requesting. How many available? 3, 1, 3. Condition is true. Then available plus how many resources are already allocated? 2, 1, 1. So it is 5, 2, 3 plus 2, 5, 1 plus 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 4. Like this. Okay. So here again you see this Gantt chart. First one is a true, second one is a false, third one is a true, fourth one is a true, and the last one is a false. You need to check the last one. 5, 2, 4. 5, 2, 4. Now we will step 5. Step 5. Next one we'll see P4. P4 is requesting, it's not completed execution. It is requesting 0, 0, 2, which is less than 5, 2, 4. Then 5, 2, 4 plus how many resources are already allocated? 0, 0, 2. Then 5 plus 0, 5. 2 plus 0, 2. 4 plus 2, 6. Condition. Next. Again you see the chart. First one completed execution. Second one not completed. Third one completed. Fourth one completed. Fifth one is also completed. Now you see the next one. Okay. What is the next one? Process 2. Step 6. Process 2 not completed. So it is not completed execution. Condition is true. And how many resources it is requesting? 2. 2, 0, 2, which is less than what available resources? 5 to 6. 5 to 6. Condition is true. Then 5 to 6 plus how many resources are already allocated? 2, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0. Then 7, 2, 6. Okay. So in this case, there is no deadlock. Understood? Again, example, if the P2 is requesting like 7, 9, 10 or 8, 9, 10. In that case, deadlock happens because this P2 is not completed execution. If any one process is not completed execution also, that system may lead to a deadlock. Understood? Because finish of I equals to false. Fourth step. Then what I said, there is a deadlock. So here P2, example P2 is asking only the 2, 0, 2. But if it is asking, like if it is requesting 8, 9, 10, but actually how many resources we have? Only 7 to 6 only. But it is asking more than that, then the system may lead to a deadlock. If it is requesting less than that, then system may not lead to a deadlock. So here in this example, there is no deadlock. If you want to show the deadlock, then you increase the resources here. Example P2, instead of the 200, you give 10, 11 like that. Then what happened? That resources cannot be allocated to that process. Then what happened? The system will lead to a deadlock. So this is about your deadlock detection. Understood? Deadlock detection means you need to find out the resources which are involved in the deadlock and which are the process which are involved in the deadlock. If the resource type is having a single instance, then there is a deadlock. Then you can use a wait for graph to detect the deadlock. But if the resource type is having a multiple instances and there is a deadlock, then you can find out the deadlock by using this algorithm. So this is about your deadlock detection. I hope you all understood. We'll continue in the next class.